Everyone, today we'll be studying about discussing about the topic reproduction in plants. What do you mean by the term reproduction? Reproduction means production of offsprings. Production of offsprings. What are offsprings? So we usually use the term children, but in biology we use the term offsprings. So offsprings more or less means younger ones. Okay, so reproduction is the production of offsprings. Now, why is reproduction important? Reproduction is very important for any organism to continue its species. So, for the continuity of species, reproduction is very important. So, reproduction means production of offsprings. It is very important for the continuity of species. Now, we come to reproduction in plants. In plants, we find or we see three types of reproduction: asexual or asexual reproduction, vegetative propagation, and sexual reproduction. So in plants, we see three types of reproduction: asexual reproduction, vegetative propagation, and sexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction is a type of reproduction in which the sex cells are not involved. They are not involved, okay? We call them gametes. Sex cells are also known as gametes. They are not involved during this type of reproduction. Now, what are gametes? We have done last year that in plants, the anthers produce the pollen grains, whereas the ovary produce the ovules. So these are the gametes. The pollen grains are the male gametes and ovules are the female gametes. So if they are not involved during reproduction, it is known as asexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction is just the opposite. If the male and the female gametes are involved in this type of reproduction, we call it sexual reproduction. Now, vegetative propagation. From the word itself, vegetative, when any part of the plant, like the root, the stem, the leaves, are used to propagate it or produce new plants, then we use that type of we call that type of reproduction as vegetative propagation. Once more, asexual reproduction is a type of reproduction in which gametes or the sex cells are not involved. The sex cells are the pollen grains and the ovules. Sexual reproduction is a type of reproduction in which the gametes are involved. If any part of the plant, that is this root, the stem, or the leaves are used to propagate it or to produce new plants, we call it vegetative propagation. So today we'll be discussing about asexual reproduction. As I already told you, the gametes are not involved in asexual reproduction. The first type of asexual reproduction is binary fission. Binary, you all have studied this term in computer. Binary means two, or bi means two. Fission means to break. So if one cell breaks into two cells, we call it binary fission. We see this type of reproduction in bacteria. The mother cell divides into two daughter cells. So this type of reproduction is known as binary fission. One cell divides into two. The next one, multiple fission. Multiple means many. So if one cell divides into many daughter cells, we call it multiple fission. Okay? And then we see this type of asexual reproduction in amoeba. And it takes place only during unfavorable conditions. So when the conditions are not favorable for binary fission to take place, then multiple fission takes place. One cell divides into many daughter cells. Next one, budding. From the word itself, bud. From the parent plant, a small outgrowth is formed, which forms a chain. Okay, and then this outgrowth is known as bud. So this bud will give rise to another bud, this will give rise to another bud, and this keeps on continuing until a chain of buds are formed. Each bud can give rise to a new parent plant. You see this type of asexual reproduction in yeast. The next one is fragmentation. From the word itself, fragments or pieces. Now there are some type of algae which are filamentous, they are lengthy, ribbon-like. Okay, so what happens is, so when they mature and grow up, they break into fragments or pieces, and each piece develops into a new plant. And this type of reproduction is usually seen in a type of algae known as Spirogyra. Okay, so let's revise what we did once more. Reproduction is the production of offsprings. Reproduction is very important for the continuity of any species. In plants, we see three types of reproduction: asexual reproduction, vegetative propagation, and sexual reproduction. If gametes are not involved, we call it asexual reproduction. If gametes are involved, we call it sexual reproduction. And if any part of the plant, like the root, stem, or the leaf is used, we call it vegetative propagation. Asexual reproduction, we did 4 types of asexual reproduction. The first one was binary fission. We usually see this type of reproduction in bacteria. Binary meaning 2. One cell divides into 2. So one mother cell, when it matures, will form 2 daughter cells. Next one, multiple fission. It takes place only when the conditions are unfavorable. One cell divides into many daughter cells. We see this in spike algae. The next one is budding. The mother cell gives rise to outgrowths known as buds, and they form a chain, and each bud develops into a new parent plant. We see this in a fungus known as yeast. And the last type, fragmentation. We see this in filamentous or ribbon-like organisms like Spinogyra. The parent plant, when it matures, breaks into fragments, and each fragment develops into a new parent plant. Thank you, everyone.